This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Hey everybody, welcome to the WWE Podcast Mailbag. It's Wednesday, August 2nd, 2023. Mr. and Mrs. Casual Wrestling fans still on sabbatical. Hopefully they will rejoin us the next time around, and it's just me. So, too much of your disappointment, it's still me. But we're going to get through all of your emails, all of your voicemails, as quickly as we can. With it being SummerSlam week, there's a lot to get through today, so if it sounds like I'm talking a little faster than normal or abbreviating my answers, it's simply in my own self-interest and self-preservation of sleep. So it's no disrespect to anybody who takes the time out of their day to call or email us, as we really do appreciate it. But as the podcast grows too, it's going to be increasingly hard, more difficult to answer every single one at length. So just kind of a forewarning. One of the drawbacks of getting bigger means that, not everyone will be included. However, those of you who are on Patreon, your spot is secure. All right. So those of you on Patreon, your spot is secure on the mailbag from now until the end of time. Those of you that are not on Patreon, I still will make my best effort to get through all of your emails, and we're going to do that tonight. And speaking of Patreon, though, we've got a few new patrons. Kyle, Kobe, I believe you've been on here before, but if not, then welcome back. If not, welcome for the first time. And also, we've got a new patron, ZM, and welcome, Z. I hope you enjoy your free trial, and you get your free shout out, and I hope you join us full time. I think that you'll enjoy yourself as SummerSlam approaches on Sunday, or rather Saturday. Still getting used to the Saturday transition, but you know what? I really love the Saturday transition. I have no complaints about it. Saturday is a much better day. And honestly, I'm sure for the talent and all of the staff who have to do ring work and travel from production to everything else, they probably love that buffer day. Instead of going directly from a pay-per-view, that ends at 11 p.m., and then you have to get on the road or get 2 hours of sleep and then go to another city within a matter of hours. So the transition to a Saturday is better. Plus, they don't have to compete with football as much. I mean, Saturday does have football, college football. But anyway, we're going to get to the emails and do that. You know what? Let's start right now. Enough of the banter. Let's get to, let's see, Kyle. This is Detroit Kyle. That's who Kyle Kobe. Okay. So this is Detroit Kyle, or Kobe Cheese 77, as some of us know him on Discord chat. Oh, okay, I got it. There's several Kyles, so forgive me. He says, this is a very special weekend for me, as I will be attending my very first live WWE event ever at SummerSlam 2023. Yeah, I can't explain the amount of excitement that I'm feeling right now. I'm 38 years old, but I feel like a 10-year-old on the inside, all giddy and deliriously happy. Wow. Kyle, your first event is SummerSlam 2023. You're going to set the problem with that is, I mean, I'm jealous, of course. That's a personal problem. But what you're doing is setting the bar super high for yourself, because any event you subsequently attend is not going to likely live up to this event. But enjoy yourself, my friend. So you say, I've been a fan since the Attitude Era, but my parents were always restrictive with my wrestling viewing, especially with how raunchy and raucous wrestling was at the time. Yeah, I hear you. I had to hide it from my parents for a little while as well. I don't actually think my parents fully understood it until I came home with a shirt that said, want to see my puppy, or I want to see your puppies or something. And it was a Jerry the King Lawler line about the divas in WWE at the time, or the Suck It t-shirts. At that point, my parents started to go, what the hell is he watching? But anyway, so you're saying that I had to sneak around and watch wrestling whenever they weren't paying attention, and they went through the trouble of banning certain channels from our cable subscription so I couldn't watch. None of my friends growing up were into wrestling either, which was tough and lonely. I'd have to rely on recaps of pay-per-views afterwards to see what happened, which is quite ironic considering I can't stand all the video recaps they do today. As an adult, though, I have finally found a community that being in the WWE podcast Discord chat that I can share my love of wrestling and chat during live shows with. So I'd like to do a big shout out and thank you to everyone in the Discord chat for hanging out with me every Monday and Friday and PLE night. You have no idea how much it truly means to me. I won't name everyone in the Discord chat, but y'all know who you are, so thank you. That's awesome. I always say this, but I really wish I had time to be in the Discord chat a little more, but I trust that you guys are all being adults and doing what you need to do, and that's talk about wrestling. That's awesome. Yeah, but as far as relating to your situation, Kyle, I had friends. I mean, here's the thing. In the Attitude Era, your best chance of finding friends that liked wrestling was at its highest because the wrestling was at its peak. I mean, wrestling ratings were like 5 times what they are now. It was mainstream. Pro wrestling was its own entity. It was a monster. It was at times more popular than traditional sports. And your best time. So if you didn't have friends that at that point didn't like wrestling, you're certainly not going to find any now. Unlikely, although online, I'm glad you have found a community. But I remember, not that anyone asks me, but I remember recording on VHS Raw. I had to hit the record button. We'd watch the USA Network. I try to cut out the commercials, and my buddy who didn't have cable, I didn't have to. I was nice enough to lend him Raw via VHS. Some of you don't even know what the hell VHS is, or didn't have to go through the pain of VHS, and don't even, that's not a non-factor for you. But anyway, on to the rest of your email. So you're saying, I expect great matches at SummerSlam with great in-ring work. Some of the builds have not been that great. Well, here's the thing. I have learned throughout the Triple H era, specifically the Triple H era, that the build to the match doesn't necessarily reflect the execution of the match. Meaning, more often than not in the Triple H regime, for the better part of a year, I have come away from the PLEs feeling much better than going in and coming out of it saying, wow, that event was amazing and way better than the build. So I expect that same thing to happen at SummerSlam. Okay, so Cody versus Brock, you're saying is not that great, the build anyway. The women's triple threat and the random battle royal they just announced last week. Yeah, amazing they have LA Knight in the damn battle royal. Anyway. The talent on this card is undeniably good, but should be put on a high-level show. The outcomes are very predictable, in my opinion. Roman Reigns to retain, Seth retains, and Damian probably cashes in. Asuka retains and Io probably cashes in. Gunther retains. Cody wins the rubber match. Ronda puts over Shayna. Logan Paul gets his first PLE win since last year's SummerSlam, and LA Knight wins the Battle Royal. I wouldn't be so sure about that. LA Knight has been losing everything he's a heavy favorite in. So honestly, even if he wins this, it means nothing to me. Absolutely nothing. And we'll get to that in my preview and prediction show tomorrow night with Anthony DeMarco. But moving on. So as Mr. and Mrs. Casual Wrestling fan would say, Vegas agrees with me. I'm really hoping WWE throws us some surprises and curveballs and changes up from the current title holders. I don't mind titles changing hands as long as there's a good reason or story behind it. What I would love to see, or rather hear, are the lyrics, I hear voices in my head. They counsel me. They understand. They talk to me. I don't think I've ever just read that. It's awesome. And we would see Randy Orton return. But how would WWE do it? Riddle doesn't have a match at SummerSlam, so I don't know what match or feud they could throw Randy into. They could just have him come out and say, I'm back, and that would be enough for me. My only question for you is, what surprises do you see happening at SummerSlam? Just to help spark some ideas, here's a list of wrestlers we haven't seen in a while that are still on the roster. Excuse me if some of these have been on NXT I haven't been able to watch recently. Alexa Bliss, well, she's pregnant, so that's not happening. Aaliyah, Elias, Omos, Los Lotharios, Johnny Gargano, and the rest of his group. New Day, specifically Big E, by the way. I think Big E has a big chance, pun intended, of appearing at the event, by the way. I think Big E is, not that I've heard anything specific, but it's been too damn long. And SummerSlam's a good platform. Big E hasn't been around in, my God, it feels like 3 years. So I think Big E is a big possibility. Let's see, Maximum Male Models, Massey, Mansois, Piper Niven, and even Pat McAfee. Any NXT call-ups or possible returns, let me know what you think. Thank you, Matt, for the rest of the creators for that are part of the podcast. I know you all put in the hours of work to provide us with new content almost every day, and you have to be doing it in your free time. Thanks, everyone listening. Much love to you, Detroit Kyle. Well, Detroit Kyle, thank you so much. And yeah, this is my free time. Like right now is the time where I want to be laying in my bed and watching a UFO documentary. I think that is what I want to be doing right now, rather what my body wants to do right now. So yeah, you're absolutely right. This is my free time. But you know what? You guys use your free time to listen to this show. So we're all using our free time, are we not? Unless some of you listen to me at work, in which, hey, don't get fired. But okay, as far as the Randy Orton return goes, and I don't want to give too much away because I have a lot to say tomorrow night in my preview and prediction show with Anthony. But I will say, Randy Orton, every time we hear he's coming back, we get immediate conflicting reports that he's not. And the doctors are telling him, don't come back, don't come back. But then I heard just recently, over the last 24 hours, that Randy Orton is in fact lifting, and he looks more jacked than ever. And he's going to just, go against what the doctor's orders are. And he's going to return anyway. So, if I was to put a percentage of chance of Randy Orton returning tomorrow night, I'd say 50-50. I know that's kind of a cop-out, but it seems the reports have been 50-50. So going with what smart money tells you, it's 50-50 chance Randy Orton returns. Now, if he returns, what does he do? I actually don't know if he'll return with Riddle. Riddle's not involved in anything. They seem to be down on Riddle right now, not really particularly getting behind him. I think you could see Randy Orton return, if he does, and RKO Roman Reigns after he potentially wins against Jey Uso. You're going to see, I think, a big return after let's be honest, this isn't a spoiler, very heavy favorite of Roman Reigns beating Jey Uso. And I think Randy Orton could be that candidate to come out and, RKO Roman Reigns. If you remember, there is a story there. Randy Orton was injured, quote unquote, by the Bloodline before he left last May. Was it last May? It was like May of 22. So it's been over a year. There's a story there. And Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Championship, I'm all for it. You could also have, Dwayne. Dwayne's name has been floating out there. He continues to live on through Grayson Waller. So as long as Grayson Waller keeps mentioning him, I'm going to keep talking about him. Okay? The Rock, I said it only because Grayson Waller keeps mentioning it, and you did the People's Elbow this past week. If Grayson Waller brings on The Rock as a part of a Grayson Waller effect, then you could absolutely see finally a Roman Reigns and Rock confrontation. The one we've all been waiting for that could lead to a WrestleMania match, which obviously wouldn't take place till WrestleMania, and they could easily string it out that long. Okay, Kyle, great stuff. I'm glad you found a community where you can be your wrestling self, right? There's no shame here. There's no too big of a fan. Enjoy SummerSlam, buddy. Okay. Where are we going? This is actually a New York Kyle. See, there's too many Kyles. There's too many damn Kyles. Maybe I'll just, I'll give you guys different names or something. I don't know. Okay. So this is New York Kyle. And he says, so SummerSlam predictions. First, I think LA Knight will win the SummerSlam Battle Royal match to get a future U.S. title match. Now, let me ask this, guys, and I really don't know the answer. What's at stake in this Battle Royal? Pride? Everyone that doesn't have anything going on, just minutes in front of a crowd? What is the carrot they're dangling in front of these participants in the Battle Royal? Is it literally just an opportunity for pride, or is it actually U.S. title match? I don't know. For me, I haven't heard anything, but if it is a U.S. title match, then I think LA Knight actually does win, even though he's a heavy favorite. But as I said, LA Knight being a heavy favorite over the last couple of months has not worked out exactly the way fans have thought. All right, next, I think Logan Paul will win against Ricochet. Shayna Baszler will beat Ronda. I think Cody will beat Brock after the match. Bray Wyatt will return and start a feud with Cody by attacking him. That I have not heard. That's interesting. I think Drew will win the IC title from Gunther. Charlotte will win the WWE Women's Championship from Asuka and against Bianca Belair in the triple threat. But after, Io Sky will cash in. Remember when she was Io Shirai? I remember that. Then she had a name change. But But Io Sky will cash in. But after she wins, Bayley turns on Io and wants the championship. Wow, that's multi-layered there. That's like peeling back the onion, right? I think Finn will shockingly beat Seth for the World Heavyweight Championship, but then Damian turns on Finn to cash in and win. I think Roman Reigns retains, but after we get a huge return. And you say, I'll be happy with this one. Finally, The Rock is back. He enters, has a stare down with Roman as the show ends. That's it for today. Stay tuned for the voicemail with the Cora Jade report. Hope you guys enjoy SummerSlam. Okay. Yeah, I think it's a possibility about The Rock. Okay, I'm not going to officially predict it because every time I've predicted it, The Rock coming back over the last 3+ years, I have been wrong. Okay, so I will say that there's a significant chance The Rock comes back, but I'm not going to jump the bandwagon yet. We will see. There has been many quote perfect opportunities for The Rock to come back, but this is one of them. And the rest of your predictions, I can't comment on because it'll totally just stomp my show tomorrow. And I want you guys to listen to my predictions tomorrow, my official predictions. But Kyle, New York Kyle, thank you for your contributions. All right, where are we going? Let's. I'm going to continue with our patrons, of course. And we have Mr. Whisper in the Wind. And actually, Whisper in the Wind, which you will know very soon who that is, you'll remember, will be joining me on a future review show. Stay tuned. Okay, so he says, glad to be back. I just watched the Cody Rhodes documentary. I wish his battle through the Indies was documented like this before he came back. I would have been a bigger fan, but WWE forced it on us when he returned and overdid his entrance on the PLE and Monday Night Raw. Normally, I'm not too fussy on the PLE cards, but with it being SummerSlam, the WrestleMania of the summer, it's an underwhelming card. Not saying Trish versus Becky was a huge match, but after watching brutal promos last week, or rather week after week, just to witness it on Raw, I get it. In Canada for Trish, but still. Okay, I did not see the Cody documentary yet. I do plan on it. I think it would have helped him, although hindsight being what it is, does it really matter? And what I mean by that is the overwhelming response to Cody has been positive. Like 95%. I mean, that may be underdoing it. I don't hear any boos for Cody Rhodes. And his momentum has been sustained since he returned. I was concerned after he returned at the Rumble, which was it was like the worst kept secret in the world. And then he enters number 30 and wins after, he's been gone. It was I hated that. And it felt like, one of the softest victories of his career. But you're right. I think that still would have helped, but I guess no harm, no foul. And as far as Trish and Becky not being on SummerSlam, it is a mind-boggling decision. Maybe they just felt that there's not enough time. They've already slotted the 8 matches they have on the card for X amount of minutes, and they don't have enough minutes left. Whatever the case may be, I feel bad for Trish. I feel bad for Becky even more. I really do. I'm sure that her wish would be to have a match with her, one of the women she looked up to and inspired her to be a pro wrestler, on a main stage in a stadium in Ford Field. I mean, I feel for her, but I guess WWE knows better than we do at this point. What are your top 3 possible returns for SummerSlam, and what would they fall under with each storyline? Thanks again. Okay, let's talk about. We already talked about Dwayne, so there's one. Randy Orton is number 2. And I think, again, if he returns, it's going to be RKO on Roman Reigns after he retains against Jay. And Big E is another one. Who does he attack? Probably, if he does return, it would be in the Intercontinental title picture against Gunther, if Gunther retains against Drew. And then Bray Wyatt. I think Bray Wyatt is also a possible return, maybe in the Intercontinental title picture or not. But that's those are my top, 4. So you get a bonus there. Okay. Thank you, buddy. We'll be chatting soon, I'm sure. let's get to our next email. And Mr. DJ Kuzmo, what's he got here? So, more SummerSlam predictions. So he says, this is DJ Kuzmo back at it again on our Mailbag show. Once again, I will say, well, they're not hosting it. Trust me, I want them back too. Okay. And there's nothing wrong. There's no bad blood between us at all. We stay in contact every now and then, and it's just life, guys. That's all. It's just life. Life is crazy, and we will have them return to the show. Trust me, as soon as they possibly can. Okay. I do miss hearing them. I miss their perspectives. I miss their humor. I miss their chemistry. And it's a nice change up from me, right? Trust me, I know. I want to hear them just as much as you do. All right, so Kuzmo, let's get to your SummerSlam predictions and spoilers. Drew and Gunther. I'm thinking this match might start SummerSlam. However, I'm booking that Gunther retains so he can continue his IC title reign and surpass Honky Tonk's longest IC title reign of 454 days. But since SummerSlam is known for surprises, I wouldn't be surprised if Drew wins. Whichever way it goes, it will be a very good match. It's hard for me to comment, right? Because then it gives away all my predictions. So I'm just going to continue to read. Ronda and Shayna, hopefully an octagon-style match. I'm booking that Shayna Baszler wins because it seems like this is the end of Ronda Rousey in WWE. But seriously, though, who really is the babyface and who's the heel in this match? This doesn't make any sense. I can really care less. Well, even if you don't know who the defined babyface and heel are, they're leaving it up to the fans to decide. There's not going to be a cohesive decision. I think fans are going to be a little split, leaning Shayna, but generally split. And if Ronda's on her way out, then you're right. Who the hell cares? Because it doesn't really affect anyone. But they did at least make you aware of the backstory, and I appreciate that. It was a multi-part backstage sit-down interview with both women. And even if you don't care or know who the defined babyface and heel are, which 99% of the time I think is something you need to have, is it really necessary in this case? All the back work, all the legwork it would take to try to get the fans to cheer one over the other at this point may not be worth the effort. The juice may not be worth the squeeze, as they say. So honestly, this is just going to be a bust-ass match, I believe. A physical. May not be great. As I said on my show last night, I think it has the potential to be disastrous because if they're trying to mimic MMA in WWE, it's never a good thing to do. Never. Name another style of combat that WWE has brought in that has worked in WWE. Remember Shokishi? Or when Big Show, Shokishi was his kind of comedy gimmick. But when Big Show did a sumo wrestling match, that didn't work out well. The Brawl for All infamously actually hurt guys. I know we had also Big Show, who seems to be involved in these gimmick matches, against Floyd Money Mayweather, which actually was executed about as well as you could execute a wrestling / kind of boxing matchup. And that's probably as close as you'll get to a good execution of that kind of a match. Brock Lesnar and Cain Velasquez, LOL, right? Absolutely disastrous. These just don't work well. Now, to Ronda's credit, she is a trained performer now, a trained wrestler. She knows what the game is. So my concern is that if you're trying to make it look more MMA than WWE, but also you're pulling your punches, it could be embarrassingly bad. It really could. It could. I'm not saying it will be, but it could be. All right, Cody and Brock. This seems to be the conclusion of this feud. And hopefully Cody moves on to a new challenger or a returning challenger, but who? Oh, I'm not saying it. No. I know what you're doing there. No. You almost got me. Anyway, I'm booking that Cody gets the win to finally end this story. Okay. That's just what I'm going to say right now. Okay. Number 4, Asuka versus Bianca versus Charlotte for the women's championship. I'm sticking with my earlier prediction that Bianca wins, but interesting to see if Io Sky plans to cash in on the winner, since for the most part the women's Money in the Bank winners don't hold on to the briefcases for many months. Good point. Ricochet versus Logan Paul. I'm booking that Logan Paul gets the win here. I like the progression of this feud, which now involves Samantha Irvin Did anyone see that coming, by the way? That was a nice touch. I still like that. Hopefully this feud continues for 2 more PLEs, because this is the best one I've seen, the best I've seen of Ricochet, and there's probably a lot more to go. I would agree. I would agree that there is more to Ricochet. We've seen more of a Ricochet character development in 2 weeks than we have in 2 years. Okay. Number 6.6 here. I heard there's going to be some sort of SummerSlam Battle Royale occurring. Anyway, I want LA Knight to be the last man standing. I want this to be the similar coronation of sorts like how Stone Cold won King of the Ring in 96 and began his rise to main event status and then winning the Rumble in 97. This Battle Royale has to be the push for LA Knight to at least become the United States champion, or even in the long run, potentially win the Rumble next year. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Again, I have been cautious of WWE giving us a very heavy favorite twice now with LA Knight, with the United States Championship tournament and also the Money in the Bank briefcase match, and both of them he lost, which fans are like, what the hell? But again, there has to come a point where WWE pulls the trigger. This pushing him by not looking like they're pushing him strategy can only go so far, and I think it's finally reached that point where there has to be some kind of prize for LA Knight. Maybe it's not announced what that is, but maybe LA Knight then starts to petition to Adam Pearce, hey, I won the Battle Royale. I deserve, something. And so maybe that is the start of LA Knight on the rise. You're right. This really, to me, it should be LA Knight because of that simple fact. They need to pull the trigger. You can't play the cat and mouse game with fans forever. Number 7, Rollins and Balor. This is a tough match because I really want Finn to win, but I got this gut feeling that Seth is going to get the victory, and somehow they do a third match at Payback. Interesting to see if Priest teases another cash-in. With that being said, I'm booking that Rollins retains at a very close finish. I want to say stuff, but I can't. And last but not least, Ray and Jay Part 3, the Tribal Combat Championship match. This is another tough one because I really want Jay to win to end this story between him and Roman that has spanned 3 years. But I got this gut feeling that Roman retains via an interesting plot twist, and that plot twist is a returning Jimmy Uso. What might happen is that Jimmy comes down as the audience steps to a loud, the audience pops during some sort of ref bump. That ref falls outside the ring from a Roman spear. Well, let me just stop you there, DJ. Somebody needs to come up with a percentage of Roman Reigns championship matches that involve a referee bump. It's got to be in the high, like above 75%. It's got to be. Because a ref bump is coming here. So you are right in line with the rest of his matches, DJ. Jeez. All right. I'm not making fun of you, DJ. I mean, like, you're probably right. My point is, like, not to laugh at your prediction, but to rather point out the fact that Roman Reigns matches, it's a staple now, for better or worse, to have a ref bump. All right. Then Solo comes out and in the ring to attack Jay. Jimmy comes to Jay's rescue with a steel chair to attack Solo with a couple of shots. Then Jimmy hits Roman with a couple of chair shots. Jay goes over to the ref. Boy, you've really thought this out, DJ. Jay goes over to the ref so that he can pin Roman. But as soon as he walks over to call for the ref, Jimmy hits Jay with a steel chair. Ooh. Roman wakes up with a grin as Jimmy leaves the ring. Roman goes for the spear on Jay. The ref finally wakes up and slowly makes the count. 1, 2, 3. Roman retains. This most likely will not happen the way I thought of it, but stranger things have happened in past SummerSlams. The finish to this match and what happens after will be very, very interesting. This is DJ Kuzmo signing off. Enjoy SummerSlam. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much, DJ. And boy, oh boy, I have not had anyone predict a Jimmy turn on Jay scenario. I like it. I know, again, The Rock is an overwhelming thought, an overwhelming shadow in this match after many believe that Roman's going to retain, that The Rock's music's going to hit. And by the way, if you want to see that happen, somebody had a TikTok and meshed it well together. Obviously, it's not real, but what they perceive could happen at SummerSlam, and it's very convincing. So if you want to watch that and pretend that it's actually happening and see how you react to it, of The Rock returning after SummerSlam, after Roman Reigns holds up his title, go to my TikTok, my Twitter feed, the WWE podcast, search me out, And I'm a verified blue check mark. So, yeah, I paid that $8 a month. No shame. Hashtag no shame. All right. Thank you, DJ. I will get to your... Do we have... Yeah, I think we do, right? Yeah, we got your Veer Mahan report. Let me download it right now. All right. So, let's get to... Let's get to Thomas from Montreal. Thomas Franco. Remember, guys? He was the Elimination Chamber review guy. A lot of fun. So, he says, hey, Matt, hope all is well. I've noticed in the past couple weeks, WWE shows have felt very formulaic and without many substantial layers in their storylines. SmackDown pre-WrestleMania was a super fun show, and now apart from LA Knight and the Bloodline story, it's a tough watch. Let me know your thoughts. Here's the thing. WWE is now going to figure out how to live in a post-Bloodline world. Solo may still be with Roman, but the Bloodline as we know it is obviously shattered. Unless Jimmy rejoins and then they're a three-man group again, for all intents and purposes, the Bloodline story that as we knew it over the last year and a half, 2 to 3 years, is dead and gone. They'll be reunited, don't get me wrong, and then they'll have a whole new set of opponents and story to tell as a babyface group, which is going to be a whole lot of fun, I predict, sometime in 2024. Maybe in a year. But yeah, it has... SmackDown has been on a very, very, to me, very subtle, slow decline in their storytelling over the last 4 or 5 months, right? They have. A lot of it has to do with WrestleMania being the biggest event of the year and the biggest storylines come out during that time. So anything after that always feels a little bit, downgraded, right? But the LA Knight right now is a shining star on SmackDown. They should be very thankful and counter lucky stars for LA Knight. He's making things feel fresh. I mean, imagine SmackDown right now without LA Knight. It's a much different product on SmackDown. However, Roman Reigns continues to pull the wagon there, and the Bloodline story is in need of a massive shakeup. I think after SummerSlam, things are going to change in a big way, and that's actually what we're hearing. That the Bloodline storyline is going to be, as we know it right now, shifted in a big way. And it does feel like it's time to kind of move on to different things for Roman, no doubt about it. So I think you'll be singing a different tune in about, today's Wednesday? You'll be singing a different tune in about 3 days. So, okay. Now for the positive stuff. I'm really digging this Shayna and Ronda feud. Who would have thought that'd be possible a year ago? The video package this past Monday Night Raw was so good at telling the story between these two beyond WWE, and it begs the question, why can't they do this more with storylines? Brock versus Cody needed a way better video package than they got this week with that horrible choice of music, and even the triple threat match for the women had so much story you can pull on all 3 women's NXT days. Yeah, I think I brought that point up too. Like, Brock and Cody needed this treatment. You telling me you can't sit Brock down for an interview where Brock doesn't even have to appear? You don't think Brock would rather do that than actually fly, deal with people that he hates, which I can relate to, deal with people and then have to fly back, right? He's notorious for hating travel. Why wouldn't you want that for Brock? And it furthers the storyline way better than they did this past Monday. Now, this past Monday wasn't bad. It was just kind of more of the same. So, yeah, we still don't have a story. There is no story, none for Brock and Cody. 0. And they're getting away with it because of star power. That's it. The only reason they're getting away with this, where fans aren't in an uproar outside of the fringe fans like myself, that there's no story, no explanation. It's been 4 months and we still don't have a damn explanation. Are you kidding me? Okay, 3 months. Since May, right? So 3 months. So anyway, I'm with you though. Okay, it's also a shame there will be no Rhea Ripley title match as well, or Dom for that matter. I think WWE is booking themselves into a hole, having Rhea constantly beat up with the men. If she can beat up on the men, which woman in the division will step up and actually be a credible threat? Well, Raquel Rodriguez is that credible threat, but she keeps injuring Raquel and she's not able to be cleared to compete, quote unquote. So Raquel is close to an equal as we've gotten in terms of power and intimidation and muscle mass and all that. So Raquel, I think, is going to be a good opponent once she actually is cleared to compete. So there is that. I mean, she can't compete with the men. The men just bow down to her, because they can't, as I've said, and I'm not ashamed to say this, and no one touches this but me. She's a woman, so no one can retaliate against her, which is nonsense. It's nonsense. But nonetheless, Rhea can't compete with the men. So Raquel is a very suitable opponent. Now, why they're waiting, presumably maybe it'll pay back instead of SummerSlam. Are you kidding? Not having the hottest woman in WWE in a match at SummerSlam? What? There are some very questionable decisions on the card here. Very. Lastly, I'm really looking for. Oh, and by the way, Becky Lynch and Ronda should happen before Ronda leaves. But Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley was teased, if you remember that, on Raw about a month ago, backstage. So I think Becky and Rhea is definitely happening. I don't know when, but it will. Lastly, I'm really looking forward to SummerSlam. I do think the card is great, apart from there being a stipulation in Cody versus Brock. Yeah, what? There is no stipulation, right? There is none. How is there no stipulation in Brock and Cody? Is somebody breaks your arm and you just want to wrestle them? Somebody beats you up in front of your mom and you're now restricted to just wrestling rules? No. It doesn't make sense. I don't know. I'm very confused. Wait, or am I wrong on that? I'm trying to remember. Some of you out there are probably yelling. Is there a stipulation on Brock and Cody? You would think that there's not, because I don't think there was, but logic would dictate that there is. So if it's a no DQ match, I like that. It should be no DQ. I don't know. All right. Do you think that Rollins and Balor has the potential to be the best thing on the card with Priest looming? Yes. I think he who shall not be named might return for a Grayson Waller segment, but apart from that, I don't think we'll get any other high-profile returns. Last thing, very quickly, if you need a co-host to do the review show, I'm free and available. Okay. Yeah, he who shall not be named. But, I'm going to name him because they keep naming him The Rock, right? I'm going to say it because he keeps being named by name on the show, so I feel like my lips have been unlocked. As far as coming on the show to do a review, the problem is I'm traveling Saturday night. I'm getting in late. And by the time I watch the show and I'm able to review the show, I will be in zombie mode. So I may be doing it. I may do it Saturday night in a fog, or I may wait until Sunday morning. So with that unpredictability, I hate to tell people, oh, it's this time, and then I change it because I'm too tired or whatever. So I appreciate it. If I can bring you on and I have a locked in time, I'll let you know, but it's difficult. It's difficult when I have other things going on and other commitments and a very wonky time that I may do it, may not do it. I hate doing that to people. So, but thank you. All right. Let's take another gander here. Let's see. We got Diego from Honduras. All right, Diego. Let me talk to you. I really like the Logan Paul Ricochet program. Like you mentioned before, this is the first time we got to see some in-depth character development for Ricochet. Before this happened, I used to think they should put a mask on Ricochet and capitalize on his superhero-ish abilities. Make him a real-life superhero or a Power Ranger-like character to appeal to a younger audience, much like they did on Lucha Underground when he was Prince Puma. He might not get to the top, but if done right, he could sell a lot of merch and be a great asset to the company. Plus, putting him in a mask will hide the fact he's almost doesn't have any charisma at all. And that's not an insult, that's just a fact of life. Yeah. Anyway, have a great week and keep up the good work. Can you guys, by the way, imagine the pop LA Knight's going to get in Detroit? He'll be in the top 5, if not top 3 pops for the night. I mean, just imagine it. I mean, people are ready to blow up for this dude, and they already have. But on a large scale, this is the biggest audience LA Knight will be in front of since his ascent. So I can't wait to hear the reaction. Now, Diego, as far as Ricochet goes, yeah, again, more character development in 2 weeks than 2 years. I I actually do believe that Ricochet has more charisma than we think he does, only because he hasn't been given an opportunity to really show it. So there is that. And if you remember, back when Ricochet was first kind of new on the main roster, he was labeled the in-house or the resident superhero of the roster or something like that. So they already kind of knew that he was going to appeal to the younger audience that are not so much interested in the in-depth character development. They're there for the fireworks, the cool moves, right? And that's what appeals to kids. And that's just the way it goes with kids, right? They're just interested in different things. But you're right. I think there is much more to Ricochet right now. I think Ricochet is benefiting from this program with Logan Paul just as much as Logan Paul is benefiting this program with Ricochet. These two right now have really found a nice chemistry with one another that I don't think anyone expected. Is it the biggest thing ever? No. But it's unexpectedly better than most expected, if that makes sense. So you monetize Ricochet the right way. Give him, here's the thing. Win, lose, or draw against Logan Paul. I don't want Ricochet to go back to obscurity and back to being a mute, right? He's gaining something here. Have you heard the reactions for Ricochet on Raw? They have been exponentially better. Why? Because he's been able to connect with the audience in a way that he has not been able to before. A microphone. And that is key in success. And so I think after this program, they need to continue to give him something to sink his teeth into, cutting promos against people. They've found something here with Ricochet, and I think you're right. He could sell a lot of merch, specifically for the younger audience, no doubt. Thanks, Diego. All right. Let's talk to Chris and Gallia of Warspite, Alberta, Canada. I'm not going to say who 3 times. I refuse. Who is the man sitting in front row center at every PLE? He goes back many years, always wearing a pistachio green shirt, a cargo hat, and his facial hair. He never changes his appearance or seats. It's like wrestling magic. I'm not really sure what that's supposed to mean. I'm not really sure. I don't know. I still hold out for hope for Jay. Gallia agrees, saying a girl can hope. Our reason is the bloodline story has been so drawn out, we would like to see the title reign of Reigns end by a member within the bloodline. Sammy didn't do it, Jay could, but if he doesn't, only Solo is left to dethrone Roman. If it doesn't end this way, I feel like the bloodline won't be as meaningful. Is it an abrupt change for Roman to veer off and start a feud with Randy or Bray? It may be interesting, but not relevant. In my understanding, SummerSlam will be day 1070 for Roman. That number may be shiny enough for WWE to pull the trigger. Reminder for our proposed August 11th SmackDown breakdown on that weekend, week in review. Check your Facebook messages. Also, listeners like them on Facebook. Okay, cool. Thank you again. Keep the reminders coming. I appreciate that. I believe it still will work for me. So Chris and Gallia, that should work for me. Please, and I tell this to everybody, please continue to remind me. So let's see. You guys, so you plan on calling in next week to introduce yourselves, contribute your thoughts, and hype to our weekend review show. And WWE Podcast team, you have been helping us stay up to date and ahead of the game. Pun intended. Sincerely, Chris and Gallia. Well, Chris and Gallia, thank you for being listeners of the show. Glad we can continue to help you stay up to date on all the latest goings on in WWE. As far as the idea that the bloodline, an internal member, has to be the one or should be the one to end it, there's logic in that. You know, there is something to be said for that. But Jay was, so again, I said this with Cody at WrestleMania. So Jay wins. Then what? Right? Not that Jay can't put on really good matches and be, you know, a centerpiece for a period of time. But then what? You know, like, also, if Roman wins or Roman loses, you know he's going to want a rematch. Therefore, this program with Jay continues. And the reports have been that Roman is shifting way away from the bloodline, or at least the Jay and Jimmy program. And also, your 1,070 days, I'll take that at face value. You're probably right. But Roman is getting very close to entering the top 4 and eventually the top 3 of all time. And they realize that they are likely never going to have a title reign like this in their the next 10 to 20 years. It's possible. So they're going to, I think they may not be anywhere close to done with Roman Reigns. That sounds insane. But if they're this close, why not get him across the finish line? Meaning he could get into the top 2 or number 1. It's a long way away. That means another few years. I know this, you guys are like, what? But hey, we've, in our lifetimes, everyone within the sound of my voice, more than likely, 99% of you have never witnessed a title reign this long, which means you will never forget it. And if you were to say you were the generation that witnessed the longest reigning champion of all time in pro wrestling, that's something that you'll never forget. So there is something to be said for that. As much as we were all tired of it in this generation of, of no attention span and hot potato title changes, although Triple H has kind of put a squash on that. It might be a tough pill to swallow, but we have the World Heavyweight Championship on Raw. There is that too. All right. Thank you, Chris and Gallia. Let's get to, man, oh man, I told you guys are absolutely hammering me with emails, as expected. Okay. Let's get to Cam. All right, I'm going to get through this a little quick, Cam, here. Okay. Mailbag for a PLE. Yeah, there's no takeover. Sorry. Okay, predictions. Here we go. More predictions, guys. Drew and Gunther. Gunther retains due to the numbers game after Riddle comes out to help Drew, but Kaiser and Gio distract ref and take care of Brostash 420. Rousey and Baszler. As I write this, we only know it's an MMA rules match. What's that? We don't know. But one can assume with their new merged business deal, we might get a real MMA fight. I hope we don't. So you think Shayna's going to win. Boo Ronda Rousey. That's probably the way it's going to go. Now, this is where we make history. Paul versus Ricochet. A live stream match. Is that maybe? I mean, it's already a live stream match because it's on national television, right? But okay. Logan is going to come out wear some GoPro somewhere in his body, or set up his phone and live stream the entire match for his 20 million subscribers. And all those in attendance and all those watching at home, the winner will be a no decision. Okay, well, the problem with him wearing any kind of gear, that's dangerous. I mean, you're introducing foreign objects that don't need to be involved on the body. I get what you mean because he's a live streamer, but honestly, if I was Logan Paul, I'd want to kind of shift away from that identity, but we'll see. Okay. SummerSlam Battle Royale. Let me talk to you. This match obviously has a crowd favorite, and for that reason, I'm out. Now, don't get me wrong. Whose game is it? LA Knight. I'm rooting just as loud as the next guy, but it don't matter. 2 words, slow burn. And now, like you, I don't know why it's not his time. So who wins? Well, Big O is going to put on a show. Odyssey Jones. Random, I know, but who knows? Just maybe. Here's the thing also. WWE might be playing more games with us where they've said, well, the fans know they've gotten burned by expecting LA Knight to win the last 2 matches. And this time they're going to say, well, WWE's not going to get him this match because they know that they're the favorite and they're not going to do it. And now they might do it, right? There's a little bit of gamesmanship being played by creative and between creative and the fans right now. All right. Asuka, the whole women's championship match, the triple threat. Flair wins, becoming a 15-time champion. And then Sky cashes in, hits Flair with a drop kick, or Bailey, hate to say it. Okay, Brock and Cody. Winner will be Cody. End this feud. Move on. Thanks for Cody for doing this. And Seth and Finn, excellent match. Damian cashes in at a down Seth, and from out of nowhere, south of heaven during a triple threat stomp to Finn. And when he thinks Finn is out of it, he covers Seth 1-2. And then J.D. McDonough gets rid of Priest, and Finn covers 1-2-3, new World Heavyweight Champ. And finally, it's time. Main event, Jey Uso versus your Tribal Chief, head of the table. Let's see, what's your prediction here? Roman's new. Okay, so Jimmy comes back, but as soon as the show goes off the air, that's when Braun Breaker comes out. Okay, so we have a Braun Breaker description, or a Braun Breaker prediction. Most of us are thinking that Roman Reigns retains, though. So thank you, Cam. All right. Whew. All right, guys. Let's keep going here. Couple more. Ian. And by the way, guys, if you are a patron, you can send in an email and a voicemail. But if you're not a patron, you can only send in an email or a voicemail and try to keep it 3 minutes or less. So if you guys write a super long email, I'm going to cut it down just for time reasons. I appreciate the effort and I appreciate the passion, but I got to cut it down. If you guys send me massively long emails, I'm going to abbreviate some things you say, not out of disrespect, but just out of time. All right, Ian, let's go here. Glad to be back at the podcast. I just watched the Cody Rhodes doc and I wish his battle royal. Okay, never mind. Ian, your identity as Whisper in the Wind has been revealed. All right, so we already went through Whisper in the Wind, i.e. Ian. We'll be talking soon, buddy. Okay, that means we only have two. I think we only have two emails, guys. Stick with me. All right, Mason. He says, so about this tribal combat, do you think Jimmy or the Usos that's in the hospital will just magically be better and come out and help Jay? Because Solo is going to be helping no matter what. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like Solo and Jimmy are more than, I'd say they have a very high chance of being involved here. Second, Ricochet and Logan Paul is a program I'm actually more invested in than I thought I would be. When Paul made it personal with his fiance, I kind of knew that the Ricochet is going to win. Also, Paul is always knocking out his opponents in promos, but this time first, Ricochet hit the sliced bread variant off the apron. Then the week after, he hit the super kick and then the standing shooting star, and he might be the only human that can do that. Third, this week's question for the listeners is, what is the most athletic thing you've ever seen in WWE? Let me answer that from my perspective. One of Evan Bourne, remember him? Evan Bourne into an RKO. That was insane. The Shelton Benjamin sweet chin music from Shawn Michaels was insane. Those are just two that right off the top of my head. Thank you, Mason. Whew. I'm going to take a breath. We have one more email, guys. One more email. Here we go. All right. And Chandler finishes this out and says, this week I want to start off with a quick fact for you guys. Next month we'll make a year since Bray Wyatt's return at Extreme Rules. In 1 year since being back, he's had 2 matches. I understand that there might be reasons out of his control as to why he hasn't been in the ring. It just sucks that such a hyped up return has fallen flat. But let's get to current topics in wrestling. The Tribal Combat match at SummerSlam is probably the match I'm looming forward to the most, as it's the first time in a long time that Roman has a chance of losing the title. Not a high chance, but a chance. Yeah, I'd agree with that, except, I wouldn't say it's not a long time. The last time he defended it, of course, was 4 months ago at SummerSlam or WrestleMania, and that was a real chance, and many people predicted Cody to win. Clash at the Castle against Drew McIntyre was another. But yeah, I guess in a while is correct. Seth versus Finn will probably be the best match of the night in terms of technical wrestling. It's almost impossible for them to have a bad match. I would agree with that. I read that Ronda versus Shayna will be loser leaves town, with Ronda leaving the company, but clearly that's not true. They might have more matches, with the final one having that stipulation. Yeah, it could be this town ain't big enough for the both of us. It could be. I haven't seen that official. We'll maybe get that official from Adam Pearce on Friday before SummerSlam on SmackDown. Trish versus Becky not being on the PLE is odd, considering they've stretched it out as long as they have just to have segments on Raw. Yeah, I'd agree. Very perplexing with that match. I think a heel Raquel and a babyface Bianca could have a great program for the title. As much as I don't like Bianca as a face, I feel it would still be good. Yeah, as much as I want Bianca to be a heel as well, there are a couple of matchups that we haven't seen yet that would be fun, and that is one of them. I feel like we're in a loop with LA Knight, but I could write an essay about that, so I'm just going to keep that short. That's all for this week. Hopefully this makes sense. I have a bit of sending my emails last second. Yeah, it is a bit repetitive, which is why I continue to stand by my kind of conclusion that the WWE strategy of pushing LA Knight by not pushing him needs to come to an end, because this cannot continue forever. So, all right, let's get to the voicemails right now.
Hello, WWE Podcast World. This is DJ Kuzmo back at it again on your Mailbag show. Record to live on a Wednesday morning. And let's get to your favorite show to come on every single week on the Mailbag. And I'm talking about the Veer Mahan Report. Now, the Veer Mahan Report took place this past Monday night on Monday Night Raw, live from Houston, Texas. But oh my goodness, for the fourth straight week, we have not seen an appearance of the Indishir, of my guy Veer Mahan, of Saga, and of the modern day Maharaja Jinder Mahal. When will these guys show up? But I do have some updates. And the first one is on Jinder Mahal's Instagram page. There was a post 4 days ago, and it mentioned something like this. It was a video, and it mentioned something like this: the sheeps sleep on us, but the goats co-sign. Hashtag Indishir. And of course, in this Instagram post, there was a little video of Veer Mahan, of Sangha, and of course, the modern day Maharaja getting ready for some action, as they were looking with intent. But hopefully, just hopefully, we get to see them right after SummerSlam, the Monday Night Raw after SummerSlam. Hopefully, we get to see the Indishir. Now, the second development, and that is, according to WWE's Instagram, this coming September, on Friday, September 8th, Superstar Spectacle has returned and is coming back to India. Hyper Bad India. And of course, none other than my guys, the Indishir, will be on that card. Now, I don't know exactly what time the show will be because of the time difference, but I'm so excited that my guys will showcase their talents in front of their hometown, down in Hyper Bad India, in a stadium called the Gabachi Indoor Stadium, of course, on Friday, September 8th, 2023. Now, with that being said, of course, this is SummerSlam weekend, so enjoy SummerSlam, enjoy the rest of your week, be kind to one another, be UC, my friends, and of course, this is your boy DJ Kuzmo, and peace!
All right, DJ, hey, I'm telling you, well, first of all, thank you for following the Twitter. The Twitter posts continues to make me encouraged, and you and those who are fans of the Indishir, that big things are coming, and I think they will be coming in short order. As you mentioned, the Monday Night Raw after, very, very plausible. It could even happen at SummerSlam. I've been saying that for weeks and weeks and weeks. Again, official predictions and things coming tomorrow, but I would agree with you, and it has been too long. And you know what? The Indishir are out of the minds of the casual fan, which is a good thing, because the fans like us that are a bit more, quote, hardcore or whatever you want to label us, we're the ones paying attention. But for the casual fan, the Indishir will be a surprise when they return, because most of those fans, most of the casual fans, don't have their minds on the Indishir. So, and as far as the event in India on September 8th, that's awesome. And that continues to further the evidence that the Indishir could be champions by that time. Could be. I know we're putting the cart before the horse here, but things are lining up that way, if you want to believe. So, thanks, DJ. Enjoy SummerSlam to you, my friend. And let's go to, actually, I don't know. Let's find out together who this is.
My name is Micah Drake, and I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. And I just wanted to ask if you have an opinion on Dom winning the North American title at Great American Bash. I mean, Dom is a fantastic heel, and obviously a nice heel run with this championship will do him nicely. But I also would rather not see a ton of titles on the Judgment Day, just because if they're not in a major storyline right now, then it's not going to work out that well. I would like to see Damian Priest maybe have a failed cash-in on Seth Rollins during the match and not cost Finn Balor. That would split the Judgment Day up a little, and then maybe Rhea turn on Dom. But this championship kind of complicates things because I would rather see Dom in a storyline with another faction. Thank you.
Hey, I think you said Michael Drake. I could be totally wrong on that, but I caught Drake. So, first of all, hope you're doing well, buddy. I thank you for calling in. And okay, the fact that the Judgment Day, you're saying, are not involved in a major storyline, you don't want them with all the gold. Well, I mean, they are a very, very prominent part of Monday Night Raw. I mean, and have been for some time, and they are involved in major storylines right now, several major. And I would argue that with them having all the gold, they're automatically in major storylines. And I think there is a strong case to have Finn win and or Damian Priest cash in shortly thereafter, or one of those combinations of either Finn or Damian winning. And as far as the opinion of having Dom win the North American title, I love it. Dom, you know, if it wasn't for the way the position and plans, the current plans were for the World Heavyweight Championship played out, and you know, with Seth winning and all that to counteract Roman Reigns as champion on SmackDown, I would think that Dom would have been a great World Heavyweight Champion. But knowing that they had to put gold on Dom, given how much heat he has, and whether or not it's just the fans doing a monkey see, monkey do routine with Dom not letting him speak on the mic is kind of irrelevant because he's still getting the just an amazing reaction as a heel. And again, the North American title was the only available singles title that they could have Dom capture. And they knew they had to strike while the iron's hot. This is not a normal reaction for a heel, at least by today's standards. So having him capture the North American title from NXT Wes Lee was not the worst move in the world. I actually really enjoy it. Seeing Dom as a champion is enjoyable because you just despise him so much. You want to see someone beat him up so badly. That's how you should feel as seeing a heel. And much more the case when they have a championship around their waist. So the only one not carrying a championship or any kind of prize at all is Finn Balor. Of course, Mr. Money in the Bank, Damian Priest has his quote-unquote prize, but he's going to want to trade that in for a belt. So honestly, we could either even have Damian and Finn capture the tag team championships, and then every member has it, right? You could have that. But I don't know. I mean, but to say that the Judgment Day not involved in major storylines, I mean, then I don't know what group is if they're not. But thanks for calling in, man. I really appreciate it, and hope you enjoy SummerSlam. Let's continue let's find out together who this is.
Hey everybody, it's New York Kyle again. Corrugated Report, back again. So last week, Dan Brooke beat Cora Jade in a candlestick match. Cora stipulation. I'm losing hope. I'm not losing hope. I'm just worried. That's all. So this week, not much happened for Cora. Basically, this week they showed a clip that from last week it didn't air. Like it's one of those things. It's one of those clips where it was recorded last week, but they didn't air it till this week. It wasn't shown last week to the public. It wasn't shown for the first time till this episode. It was one of those. And they showed her last week in the backstage in the women's locker room, basically saying to the whole locker room, to all the women, "Hey, I'm leaving. I'm done with this show. I'm sick of being treated with disrespect. I'm out of here." And then she goes, good luck without me, ladies. You're gonna need it." And she walked out. Also, interestingly, in real life, she actually just left Twitter. It's called X now, I guess. It's stupid. She left X and basically said, "I'm leaving X because the Twitter comments that I get makes me lose brain cells." I don't blame her, honestly. And she goes catch me on Instagram instead from now on. So, interestingly that she's leaving everything right now. And since she left NXT, does that mean she's being called to the main roster after SummerSlam, on the Raw or SmackDown after SummerSlam, maybe possibly along with her boyfriend, Braun Breaker? Possible. Guessing here, I don't know. That's pretty much it for this week, though. not much happened this week. Hopefully more happens next week. For now, this is it. It's also SummerSlam week. I sent them my email. I sent casual wrestling feeling my SummerSlam predictions. So that's all in. So I'll see you guys in the email part of the show. That's it. See you next week. I hope you all enjoy SummerSlam.
Kyle, thanks so much for the Cora Jade report, and hope you're doing well. Again, it's hard for me to respond to these when you guys give those reports because they're just more informational than opinionated. But you're right as far as Cora Jade and Braun Breaker. I mean, look, Braun Breaker's been rumored to be coming up for like a year and a half now, and we have yet to see it. I mean, there's been how many conversations that I've had and other podcasts, I'm sure, that talk about Braun Breaker being the one to beat Roman Reigns and all that. You know, he's quite a bit far away from him. He's like, you know, a universe away from that, at least as it stands right now. You know, he was briefly introduced to the main roster audience, but for most people that see Braun Breaker, it would be like the first time they're seeing him. And Cora Jade could be calling up too. Hey, I will say this: there's a lot of change coming up, a lot of change after SummerSlam. All right. Let's get to our next one.
Hey, what's up? It's Z, the Dark One, all the way from New York. We're currently living in Pittsburgh. And I just wanted to say I will be attending SummerSlam this Saturday in Detroit. And if you need somebody who's going to be there inside, I'm the guy. Let me know what you think. By the way, one question. Do you think Little Jay Uso can beat Roman Reigns? And do you think we get a surprise return? Thank you. Dark One out.
All right. Well, guys, my voice is back to normal. I think I know what happened there. But Z, the Dark One, I believe that's the name you gave me. So from Pittsburgh. Cool. First time calling in, I believe. And you're going to Detroit, so enjoy yourself. Boy, I'm jealous of you guys. But here's the thing. I've throughout the podcast, I've had another person ask, and I don't want to subject anyone to my schedule, which is just absurd right now with traveling and everything else I'm doing and side jobs and everything else. So I will say what I would appreciate if you could, if you want to send a voicemail or email and just give me your quick insight into what you think of the show, some big moments, things like that. I mean, again, this is not a homework assignment. It's all voluntary. You do whatever you want. But that's the kind of thing I would appreciate is inside the show, what you really enjoyed, the crowd reaction, that kind of thing, if you can. That is as far as I'll be able to promise you getting on the show. And again, this isn't just you. It's obviously everyone that's listening to me that's like, oh, I'm attending. Can I come on? That's the situation right now is, for a review show, we're going to have to just put that on pause, but I will absolutely accept your in-person perspective from a voicemail or email from through that lens. So cool. All right. Oh, as far as returns go, I mean, I've already mentioned that. If you've gotten to this part in the show, you've already heard my thoughts on returns. You know, everywhere from Randy to Big E to Bray Wyatt to The Rock. You know, definitely one of them is returning. But all right, let's get to, two more voicemails, I believe. So, or maybe just one. Either way, let's get to the next one.
Hey man, it's Justin from Maryland. Just want to get my thoughts on a couple of topics heading to SummerSlam. So first, the U.S. title scene. So, of course, I was disappointed that LA Knight didn't win. I think we all thought he would win the advance to face Austin Theory. So I'm kind of hoping that Austin Theory retains because, I mean, if LA Knight is going to win the title, he's going to need to be the heel. So I kind of hope Theory retains. Maybe he'll like win the Battle Royal and then he can like challenge for payback because I'm just not hoping that Theory retains. I mean, he's fine as champion. He just needs more time. His character needs more work, but it's like they just stopped having him on TV for a while, so we're just like, okay, what are they doing with him? So I just hope that Theory retains. I'm not saying I don't like Santos. He's definitely good in the ring. Hopefully when Ray comes back, they can, have that rematch again. But yeah, I just hope that Theory retains. So next, it's a shame that Kevin Owens is injured, so we're not gonna have him. Well, we're not gonna have a tag title match. So I'm guessing they'll probably do it at Payback. I still think that KO and Sami will probably retain. I don't think the Judgment Day need the tag titles. I feel like Dominic, he'll hold the North American title for a while. But yeah, I just hope that it's just a shame that they don't have the tag titles on the pay-per-view or the TLE, and then you couldn't even have Trish and Becky on there, or even Theory on there. So that's just a shame. But well, so definitely looking forward to Roman, the Universal title match. Of course, Roman will win. I feel like we're gonna get somebody that's gonna return. Hopefully, Randy comes back. But I don't think that Ross will come back. I feel like if anybody will come back, it'll be Randy. We get an RKO at the end that will set that up. But I'm not sure who else could come back. I don't think that they'll have the show end with just Roman holding up the title. I feel like they gotta end it, with something big. Just like they had when Brock came back last year. So just hope, we get a good return. So I feel like that's it. Oh, another thing, Gunther. I'm kind of torn between who's going to win between him and Drew. I feel like Drew doesn't need to win as much as Gunther because, Gunther's about to break the record. So it's going to be interesting. Like I would love to see Drew hold the title, but then Gunther, he's just on this massive run right now. I don't want.
There he is. God, it just feels complete when I hear your voice, Justin. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts, hopefully on SummerSlam, if you have the time to call in after the event. So I mean, at this point, though, brother, I mean, I've commented on so much that it's difficult for me to comment on anything else. I appreciate your perspectives. I will say that the Gunther situation with Drew is an interesting one because Drew poses the most serious threat to Gunther's run thus far. No doubt. And does WWE value Gunther being the longest reigning champ of all time, which is going to happen very soon, over Drew getting a victory and stopping Gunther? I would hope so. To me, again, if you're trying to break records, when's the next time you're going to have an Intercontinental Champion run this long? And you know what? Roman's run is just so egregiously long at this point that any other subsequent run that's going on feels just futile, or maybe that's not the right word. Menial. I don't know. Whatever. Let me use a better word. It just feels small in comparison to Roman Reigns' run because we're constantly hearing about 1,000 days plus. We're closing in on 1,100 days in about a month. And then you hear about, Gunther, he's been champion for 400 days. Oh my God. In any other normal universe of wrestling, you'd be like, wow, right? But it just seems so small in comparison because of Roman Reigns' run. It overshadows everybody. And that's just the way it is. It's not the fault of Roman or anything else. It's just how our minds work when we compare things. But my point is, do I think Drew's going to win? There's a case to be made. He is the most serious threat. He is a former world champion. He is a proven commodity. He's a legitimate badass. He is a polished wrestler from promo to in-ring to look to presence to charisma. He has it all. He has it all. And the respect of fans. And he's a absolute believable dude to beat Gunther. No doubt. But does he? I don't know. We'll leave that for tomorrow's preview. But yeah, as far as Randy Orton return, he seems to be the consensus of a big return as well as The Rock. But Randy Orton, I think again, I'm going to stick with 50-50. I'm going to say 50-50 with Randy Orton if he's cleared or if he is clearing himself, because from what we understand, the doctors are saying don't over wrestle again. And Randy is saying, screw you. I'm doing what I want. That seems to be the Randy Orton attitude, at least of the latest reports. But take those reports with a grain of salt, because as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, every time we hear Randy Orton's coming back, almost immediately we hear counter reports of saying he's never wrestling again. He's never coming back. The back injury is not fully healed. He's not. Yeah. So who the hell knows? But big return or returns happening at SummerSlam, you can bank on it. Yes. And they're going to save that, I believe, for the Roman Reigns conclusion of the show. Let me just say that. So, all right, everybody. Thank you to Justin. Thank you to all of our regular callers and new callers and emailers and everybody else who makes this show what it is. You guys are the best, and we will continue to try to get everybody who contributes to the show on the show. But as the show continues to grow and grow and grow, I don't know. Eventually, I'm going to reach a cap where I have to kind of pick and choose out of the mailbag, like have a proverbial mailbag actually physically in my office, right? And just not look and close my eyes and reach into the bag and pull out the person's name, right? Eventually, that's what's going to have to happen. But for the time being, we're getting close to that limit, but we're trying to do our best to respect everybody's contributions, and I think we did this week. So, guys, tomorrow is our preview and prediction show. And normally we have Thursdays off, but it's a massive pay-per-view PLE week. So tomorrow, Anthony DeMarco and I will go over all of the previews or all of the matches and give you a full preview and prediction. Really looking forward to that, as we didn't do our normal current state of WWE, as you noticed, but we're making up for it with our preview and prediction show tomorrow night. Looking forward to that. And if you want to get yourself an ad-free experience, boy, is there no better time to do it. $1 gets you in the door with not just every show we do ad-free, but also that beloved Discord server where you can go in and geek out with all the other wrestling fans and chat anytime, day or night, and especially during events. Great time to do it right now. WWE Podcast on Patreon. Search it out. And WWEpodcast.com is also a way you can go ad-free. Apple Podcasts with one click offers you an ad-free experience. We have a 7-day free trial, which means if you do that free trial, you're able to get SummerSlam preview and prediction, the SummerSlam review, all ad-free for 1 week. So that'll cover you if you want to check us out over the weekend. And also WWEpodcastshop.com for your merch. So that'll do it for me, guys. Thank you so much to everybody. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.